Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting Instructor Community Call. This is one for March. My name, as always, is Kyle Rosenthal, and thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate the time that you're taking out of your day to come and join us, or if you're listening to this or watching this afterwards, taking the time to watch this afterwards. So obviously where we are now, welcome. And then we're also going to have a look at something different or something that's available for you, and we'll kind of discuss why maybe I sound a bit different from where I'm presenting from today, and some of maybe something that you might be able to get involved with as well. They might be interested in, and then obviously our normal instructor recognition, and then some conversation resources. So if there's something that you are interested in having a chat about, then we'll be able to answer some of those questions and that sort of thing. So as I said, my name is Kyle Rosenthal. I'm an MCT. I'm a Microsoft Certified Trainer. I've been an MCT now for 26 years now, 26 years this year. So I've been around for a while. I'm also the Technical Program Manager for our events team. Now, that in particular is going to be a piece of information which will be relevant very shortly as we discuss. But yeah, so being part of the team here at Skillable for a number of years. And obviously, part of this community, and I really enjoy being part of the trainer community. It's one of the things that I really enjoy is, as most of you do, is probably enjoy engaging with folk and being able to talk to folk as well. So a little bit of just a refresh. If you have recently gone through the renewal process for your MCT, make sure you do renew your MCT access into Skillable as well. So you do need to do that annually, same as you do with the MCT access. So make sure you go to skillable.com/offers. We'll repeat that again a little bit later on, and Kristen's put that into the links as well. So that's where you can go and put in the details to be able to do the renewal for your MCT access. So if you've recently lost access, that could be the reason for it. So make sure you jump into that. All right, so here is some exciting news potentially for you, right? I wanted to pull in some information about something that some of you will know about. I know in particular, like Bob certainly knows about this, but is our requirement to have technical learning guides. Now, we have had TLGs or as they used to be known at Microsoft events, proctors, in a lot of the events that we run, and we are finding ourselves in the need for more of these folk, right, to be able to come on site and assist with making sure that events, that sort of thing, run smoothly. So as I said, I now am part like the technical program manager for our events team worldwide. So maybe I sound a bit different. It's because I'm actually coming to you live from, well, a hotel room very close to one of our events that we've got running this week, as part of the AI tour that we're running that we're running for Microsoft for the hands-on labs in Paris, right? So we literally go over the world, all over the world with our events, and we do have a requirement to be able to bring on board some more folk to be able to assist us with this. So I wanted to kind of just to bring it because it is an audience that we normally try and attract folk from the training community, not necessarily MCTs, but from the training community. And the reason being because trainers are really good people to be able to deal with attendees at events, right? Because you're confident, you're comfortable with talking to people, right? And that's what we need to have with our TLGs, right? So I know some of you that are on the call have been part of this in the past, and you may be able to attest to some of the experience that's given you. But what we're looking for is essentially more people to be able to call on, because we are bringing on more and more events onto the platform, and through our customers. Now, some of that's through Microsoft. It's also through our other customers as well that we do run events for. So what are we looking for? Okay, so basically we're looking for some people to be able to assist us worldwide. Now, this is not a full-time gig. I want to make sure that we're clear with that. This is something that you can kind of supplement what you normally do with, right? This is something that you do in addition to what you would do, particularly, say, for instance, if you were a contract instructor. This is actually quite handy to be able to fill in maybe some of the blanks that you might have, or some of the empty days that you might have, to be able to get some work in. It is a paid gig, and that's the other thing, right? So this is paid. If it requires us to be able to have you in a country that you're not normally in, or even if it is a country you're in, there is, travel is paid. So, we'll pay for your airfare, we'll pay for your train, we'll pay for hotel, etc., like to be able to get you to an event. What we're looking for is someone that's available for either 1 to multiple day events. The longest event that we generally have is a 5-day event, for obvious reasons, because it's generally not going to go into a weekend. So we would generally have, say, for instance, the Microsoft events as an example, would be a 1-day event for the AI tour. To, say, for instance, Ignite is 4 or 5 days, depending on how the Ignite event would come out. We're looking for someone who's confident in a classroom environment. We're not necessarily expecting that you are going to be speaking in front of a class in these sort of circumstances, but obviously your confidence to be able to speak if needed, that's really important. There may be circumstances where you need to talk to an entire classroom of 150 people and say, hey, if you are seeing this, don't panic about it, stop, just do this, or, give some instructions, right? Able to work under pressure, be able to, and so when we say work under pressure, 150 people in the room, there might be a few people that you need to assist with the platform, right? It is platform knowledge that we're looking for. So therefore, we're expecting that you're going to have some knowledge of using the Skillable platform, not the back end. We don't expect you to understand the back end. That's what, we'll have Skillable folk on site to be able to assist you with that. But having some knowledge of the Skillable platform so that you can assist people navigating their way through this step to this step to this step, or giving them some pointers. Being able to read a set of instructions often is the important part, and be able to communicate that to the person who's sitting there who's going, this isn't working, and you can see that's because they didn't follow the previous 2 steps or whatever. So being having that confidence and having that ability to be able to be communicative back to the support team. Like, so I said, if we're going on to a large event, we'll always have a team of folk who are sitting behind who are supporting the event to make sure that it runs as smoothly as possible. So you're the eyes and the ears in the room to make sure that things are running, to see that things are running smoothly, and if they're not, to report back at what's actually happening. Right, so you need to be very clear in your communication, and we kind of give you some guidance and some assistance as to how to make sure that that is as clear as possible, so that therefore we know what's going on, right? Because you're the person who can actually see what's happening, and that you're not going to panic and say, no, nothing's working, no one's able to do anything, right? When it's, one person out of a room of 150 people that can't work, or a couple of people that are affected. So we need to be able to have someone who doesn't immediately become Chicken Little, with the skies falling in, and be able to, work with us, work with the folk on the back end to be able to ensure that things run as smoothly as possible. So as I said, it is a paid engagement. It may include some travel, and even, say, for instance, if it is in the same country or the same city that you're in, depending on what it is, it might be required. Hey, look, it would be better if you actually stay in a hotel, because maybe it's a couple of nights and therefore, or a couple of days, so therefore going home is maybe it's an hour each way, etc. Then we'll make sure you put up in a decent hotel, etc. Right. So That's the sell point of it. Bob has certainly been one of our TLGs in the past, and I will say that if you do ever require a public address system replacement, Bob is very good for that. So being able to certainly, as I said, project if you need to, right, and having the confidence to be able to say stop in a very loud voice if the speaker says something wrong. Say for instance the speaker says, "All right, everyone in the room, close out and start again." That will make everyone's day really bad. So therefore, we want to, you can fully authorize it in that point to go, no, stop doing that, right? And give it a little bit better guidance. We do a lot of training on site and leading up to an event with speakers, so hopefully they don't do silly things. But again, you're the eyes and the ears, so if they do something silly, then you can step in and go, "Excuse me, that's not the thing you should be doing," right? So it is a really rewarding role as well, in that if everything's going well, like you get to support and you get to see content being presented, you get to see potentially brand new content. You also get to interact with speakers from various different organizations and be their support mechanism within the room, and be the person who assists to make sure that their session runs as smoothly as possible. And they are generally really appreciative of that fact of having someone in the room to be that the guiding light as such. All right, now this is where I know I'm going to get flogged with emails, so that's okay. I'm prepared for it. I'm just going to, but I'm putting my email address out there. If you are interested in doing this, I want you to drop me an email, right? I want you to send me an email. So kyle.rosenthal@skillable.com. Send me an email, right? But what I want to have in that email, so that I know about you, right? I need to know your experience with our platform, with Skillable. I need to know any product experience that you have. Now, whilst we won't necessarily have you as, you're not expected to be a subject matter expert in the room on whatever the topic is that's being presented. If, say, for instance, you know about product XYZ, right, or product XYZ, and now I'm not talking Microsoft products, I'm not talking Veeam, I'm not talking Tableau, whatever is your speciality. That's what I want to know. Like, so if there is something that you have good knowledge about, so that if I put you in a room that has someone discussing that topic, that you'll at least have a fighting chance of being able to answer some questions, if it happens to be that you're in the right place and the right time to be able to do that. Again, if, say, for instance, you're in a room and the product is something that you don't know about, that's fine. You're not being we're not expecting that you are the subject matter expert, but it becomes the bonus, right? The other thing that I want to know is I want to know the location, so where you are, so city and country. And again, because that then gives me an idea about where I can send you to, right? If say, for instance, there's an event that comes up that's maybe close to you, then obviously budget-wise, it makes more sense to send you there than it does for sending someone across the world, right? If there's any restrictions on travel locations, so if there's any places that you cannot go, I don't need you to tell me why you can't go there, but just if there's restrictions or places that you don't want to go, right? So I know that that's something that I wouldn't put as an offer to you. Hey, would you like to go to here? And you go, no, I'd never consider that. That's fine. That's fine. I don't mind at all. There are some places that we go to that you will require visas for, etc. If that's the case, then there is processes that we can assist you through and support you through to being able to get visas for being able to visit. So as an example, when I have been to Saudi Arabia, when I've been to India, I've had to go through processes to be able to get the visas for those locations to be able to go to, right? So there is processes. They're well-known processes. or if they're not well known, we certainly, we discover them as part of our process of getting events ready to go into those locations. The other thing is how much notice is required. Now, particularly for those folk that are contract instructors, you may have your books booked out for, you're booked out for 3 months in advance. Great. And that's fine. I just need to know, like, sort of, hey, I need, a few months notice to be able to do this. Or alternatively, you might say, if you need someone, let me know. I might have some time free in between gigs or whatever. If you are someone who is employed by you've got a full-time job, that's cool as well. There are folk that we've had come through as TLGs and so technical learning guides, we shorten that to TLGs. So TLGs that have come through who work their full-time gig, and what they do is they do this, they'll take some time off work as holidays, and they'll go and do this. There's other folk that I know who again have full-time gigs, but because when you're training, like, there'll be times where you have some time where you're basically on the bench. Then they've gone and done this as part of their on the bench time, right? So as part of their bench time. Again, there's no issues from our side as to what your arrangement is. It's just so that we know. So I know, say for instance, if you're flexible and you go, right, if you give me a couple of weeks notice, then I can, then I can probably go somewhere. Or if, that you get a week's notice, then you can go somewhere. Or if it's 3 months, whatever it is, just let me know, right? There are some times when maybe we have a last minute replacement. So, if you can say, hello, give me a yell if it's last minute, then we can do that. So, so just let us know, and then we'll let me know in that email. And then that becomes part of my record, so that then when we're reaching out and we go, right, I need to have someone who's in this city or near this location who can do this. And, I need it for, we try to plan these things out a few months in advance, but it depends entirely on the customer from our side as to how long notice we have. Then we'll reach out and try and get some information. So we'll reach out and try and get you on board. Now, I will also say that just because you send me an email doesn't guarantee that you will be, I'll reach out to you to say, yeah, can you do this, right? I'll give you a reply to say that I've got your email. No issues whatsoever. Don't feel disappointed if, say, for instance, there's a large event come up and you didn't get a call up for it. It just means that we've got enough people to be able to cover, or I've got people to be able to come through. It's no slight on you whatsoever. Don't take it personally, but this is a chance to be able to get through. So so that's that'll just as a couple of sort of notes about it. And as I said, we're trying to increase the number of folk that we have to be able to potentially call on for these things, okay? Because we want to be able to to bring some of the information or some of the opportunities out to the trainer community. And again, not talking about this being just MCTs or anything like that. If you are a trainer, then come on in, right, and send me the details. Okay. All right. That's good. I'm glad we've got, so Germany, fantastic. All right. Oh, actually, that would be, so another thing I don't actually have on there, but if you do have other languages, that would also be handy as well. And again, it's not going to be exclusion if you don't, if you're like me, I speak English. Well, I speak Australian, so therefore sometimes I speak English. I have a smattering of a bunch of other languages, mainly to say please, thank you, and how to order beer in multiple languages. That's pretty much my limit, right? But if you do have other languages, if you want to drop that in as well, that's also really handy as well, because, say, for instance, if we're going to somewhere like Japan as an example, having someone who can speak Japanese, that on the team, that's a really good bonus, because in some of the countries that we go to, like most of the countries that we'll go into, English is generally a second language. There are some countries that we go to where English is not a regular second language, right? So again, if you can speak different languages, put that in as well. That'd again be handy for me able to document and put through. Doesn't exclude you. Yeah, I work around the world with my English, again, my Australian, and my multiple pleases and thank yous. So, but yeah, like, so again, be just a bit of a bonus. All right. So as I said, feel free to email me, and then I'll acknowledge that I got your email. I'll put a record in to say that, like, the information that you send me. If it changes at all, like if there's things you want to update, etc., please feel free to send that as well, like when that changes. But once you've sent the email, once we have an opportunity, I'll reach out to you. And I would also say as well, because, like, I've been a contractor before, and I've, you reach that point where you go, I've got to say yes to everything. If, say, for instance, someone says to you that like if I reach out and you can't do a particular week, or a particular event that I've asked, that won't count against you for the next time, right? So again, clean slate every time, right? So I'm not going to, like, it's not going to be something that if I say, so don't worry about it. If I say no, then they won't ask me again. If you say no, that just means you weren't available at that point in time. That's fine, okay? So I just want to be clear about that, because particularly if you're new to the contracting sort of environment, that's the thing. As I said, you want to say yes to everything, and you want to be worried if you don't, then that's, like, fear not, right? I've been where you are. I understand that fear, and it will not count against you in like for this circumstance. Just want to be, as I said, absolutely clear in there. All right. Any questions around that? So if you do have any questions, feel free to drop it into the chat, or you can also come off mute, come into onto the Q&A as well, or raise your hand, I think is the way that we do it, and then we can pull you in if you want to have a chat about it. But it is an exciting opportunity, and there's quite a few folk that have come through that I've met through having these opportunities in the past, and people that consider to be very, very good friends because of this, because we've had them come through. Andre, how's the payment usually handled for someone based in Brazil? So as long as we have a method to be able to pay you through, and it can be international, that's fine. Then that's fine. Like, sort of, if, say, for instance, if you think that it might be a concern, one of the things, like when you send me the email, just say, look, hey, maybe this is going to be an issue. We haven't yet had problems with someone being able to be paid. And certainly, before we actually get you, finally in to be able to be, on site, we'll make sure that we can pay you. So yeah, so that, like I said, I haven't come across anyone yet that we've had an issue with being able to pay, but we've been able to get through to it. So yeah, yeah. Thanks for that support, Bob. Bob is, as I said before, one of the people that we've had through as a TLG, as well as other roles that Bob does for us as well. But yeah, like, so we certainly will make sure, Andre, that we're not, we wouldn't put you on site without having the ability to be able to make sure that we can pay you for that time. So, because that's not fair on you, and certainly we don't want to put that onus on you. So. All right. Okay, so we'll move on then. As I said, if there are any questions or anything like that, or even if you just want to ask a question offline, that's the thing, feel free to drop me an email, and yeah, I will get back to you on that. So, all right, look forward to hearing from you. All right, so now instructor recognition. So this is the good part, right? This is the information around our instructors that have reached milestones and something since our last call, and we've got a few of them this month. So we have folk that have delivered their first classes on our platform. Now, it doesn't mean it's first class, but obviously first class on our platform. So in particular, calling out a couple of folk there. So we've had 202 folk that have done that, but congratulations to Tiago and to Elena. So, the first class on anything new is always going to be a bit of a challenge, right? Or a bit of a thing to kind of like, is this, is everything going to do what it's supposed to do? Do I know how to do it? And do I know how to make sure that I'm delivering properly for on that platform and making the best experience for your students, right? All the way through to, we had someone who did get their 500 classes delivered this month as well. So a huge amount. But whether it was your first or whether it was your 500th, and Philippe, congratulations, you got your first class badge. Well done. First class on our platform. Again, congratulations. And in your case, Philippe, many more to come, right? So hopefully the more you get used to the platform, the more confident you'll get into it, the easier that will make your life of being able to deliver a good class. We'll make that better and better. All right, for number of students reached. So again, we've had quite a few milestones that have come in there. So, Bob, you're making it sound like you're old, and I know you're not old, Bob. You were training when you were 5 years old. It's just really impressive, right? So that's 35 years old. All right. So for number of students reached. Your first student. So again, congratulations to Tiago and Elena. We had 177 folk that did that. Going up to 50 students. Tome, Edward, Andre. Congratulations on 50 students reached. And Goran for 100 students reached. Goran and Ryder. And Nezreen, 250 students reached. And then all the way up to 5,000 students. We had two folk that reached 5,000 students and more, in the last month. Now, the thing with the number of students reached, and for those that have done these calls before, you will know that I'm a very big fan of this, right? Of this particular milestone, because as an instructor, I know that you don't really appreciate the impact that you have on the folk that are in your classroom, right? And week in, week out, if you're a staff instructor or a staff trainer, what you're doing is you are, each week, there's a bunch of new people come into your room. You do the best you possibly can to make sure that you impart knowledge to them, and they leave with more knowledge than what they started. But you never really know what happens after that, right? So what I wanted you to take on board, right, whether it was your first student, whether it was your 500 or your 5,000 student, is that take a moment to appreciate what you've done and to appreciate the impact that you've had on those people's lives, right? That they've been able to get a promotion because, of something they learned from you. They were able to answer a question that one of their colleagues asked because of what you taught them, right? So, but taking that moment to realize that you have made that impact then gives you the motivation maybe to go back and do it again, right? To go back next week, fresh new group of people come through that you're then doing that imparting the knowledge to. So, regardless of where you are in that journey, whether you're beginning, whether you're towards the end, right, or whether you've done that first class, whether you've done the first student, whether you've done your 200th, your 500th class, your 5,000th student, every student that you talk to, every class that you do is always important. So congratulations to everyone that's reached a milestone. It's always huge. All right, it's always a huge step to make sure that you to do that. And as I said, make sure you, at some point you take a moment to appreciate what you've done and what you do for those folk that do come through your classes. So because you don't always know about it, right? You don't always know what happens after they leave, right? So, but know that if they've walked out knowing more than what they started with, that you've won. Like that's always the achievement that you want to be able to do, and that will have made a difference in something within their life, right, within their work life. All right. So a little bit of a wrap up of some of the instructor offers, and kind of mentioned this before, the skillable.com/offers. So on there is where you can sign up for the mock lab access. So if you're an MCT, you can get access to all of the mock labs to be able to do your prep and that sort of thing from. If you are an MCT as well, you can apply for access to the challenge labs that we have. The challenge labs are those little additional sort of ones that we have in some of the Azure courses as an example. But there's a bank of about 1,400 or so different ones of those labs, varying different sort of levels that are in there. But what they do is they give you knowledge across all sorts of places. So not just Microsoft technology, but VMware, cybersecurity, Linux, SQL, all that sort of thing. There's some programming, like there's some developer labs in there and that sort of thing. So using that to be able to expand out your knowledge and be able to increase the information you can have. All right. So to get access to it, go to skillable.com/offers. So Andre, skillable.com/offers, and there's an option in there for the MCT All Access Pass. If you fill that form out, that will then give you, we'll send you an email with the information on how to access the labs. That'll then give you access to that. We do the same thing if you're an AWS certified instructor. Same offer, same set of labs that are in there as well. So, same 1,400 or so labs that are available. In addition to that, on that offers page as well, there's also some information around the instructor recognition. So that's where we can do the badging for the classes and students. If, say, for instance, you are a contract instructor, or you're an instructor who maybe was full-time is now contractor, or a contractor is now full-time, then you might have multiple accounts on the Skillable platform. If you do, then let Kristen know. She's really good at tracking those down and being able to consolidate the various different accounts that you might have, and be able to consolidate then the badging that comes out of that. So, and Kristen just put her email address into the chat. So, so reach out to her if you do have any thoughts around or questions around your badging or anything like that. All right. So with the conversation QA, if you do have any questions or anything like that, then let us know. So Andre, for your Nutanix and Veeam and VMware access, again, just so drop Kristen would be okay. Maybe if we would get Andre to drop you an email, and then we'll see what we can do to be able to get you access as a certified trainer in those other platforms. So yeah, we'll see what we can do about getting you access to the challenge labs within there. So, all right. So so we'll as I said, we'll see if we can sort you out, Andre. I think I'm sure we'll come to some arrangement to be able to get you in. So, all right. So this is now a little bit of time for you to be able to ask questions. If there's anything you have questions about or anything like that, please feel free to drop it into chat. Otherwise, If there's if there's no questions or anything like that, we will just make mention of the resources that's available. Now, those resources, if you want the links, that's something that are in the Docs tab. That Docs tab, remember, so within the presentation platform, there's also a survey in there, the Quick Pulse survey. If you can take a little bit of time to fill that out, that would really be appreciated. It helps us to be able to know that we're targeting this correctly, and also how we can better make sure that we're actually servicing the community as well. So make sure that we put that in. But otherwise, the bookmarks and something that are in here are also contained within there as well. So in the docs, that's the Skillable resources and social links document. Otherwise, as I said, the survey link is within there as well. All right. Well, in that case, I'll say thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate your time for joining us today. Hopefully you've got something out of today, and I do hope to hear from some of you with regards to the opportunities for a technical learning guide. Yeah, maybe you'll see you around at an event in the future, but otherwise, see you back here next month for our next session. Thank you very much.